Hey everybody, so I recently unboxed one of my own boxes, unboxed one of my stash, let's put it that way. And what I found was that I have scraps left from a sewing quilt that I had done. At the moment, I can't remember the name. Give me just 1 second, let me find it. Let me see here. Yeah, so it was actually from this kit right here. Cotton Way by Bonnie Olufsen. A layer cake friendly quilt called Quilt Day. And I can't remember exactly what year that was. I feel like it was like 2019 maybe. And so put that together. And these were all the scraps that I had left. I'm pretty sure I got it from Fat Quarter Shop. And they almost always have, like, their project boxes are provide you more than what you actually need. This might have actually just been one through Cotton Way, but anyhow. So yeah, so this is all extras from that quilt. And part of it was basically more than half of a layer cake left. So that's enough to do a small lap quilt. And then I also have these extra pieces as well. So I think what I'm going to start with is just ironing down the layer cakes here, or the 10-inch squares. And I'm going to keep it super simple and just do something where I maybe just put this piece on this piece and literally sew a 1/4 inch from the center seam on both sides, and then just have a block like this and various blocks of this size, and then just sew them together in a nice neat pattern that I like. Just kind of use these scraps and keep it super simple. Make a simple little nice lap quilt. I may throw in some sashing, that sort of thing, but for right now what I'm going to do is iron these and get them sewn together just by making half square triangles. Sometimes when you're using up scraps, it just, for me anyhow, I feel like I should keep it kind of simple, because I like doing the actual put together projects by like Lori Holt and just different people like that literally have applique and all kinds of work that you need to do. And so then with my scraps, I like to, if there are only a few scraps per project, I'll cut them down and eventually make a scrappy project of my own. But this has enough that it could practically be a whole other quilt. It may be a lap size, a smaller one, but yeah, I think it's going to be fairly decent size. There's like 28 10-inch blocks, 28 10-inch blocks here, and then all of this too, and I would say at least a yard here. So yeah, between all of this, we'll definitely be able to make the backing and probably have some sashing or borders for the front part. That's probably what I'll do with this here, and then sew all this together for the back. So that sounds like the plan right now, and we'll see how far I get, but hopefully we'll have an empty box, or I will. Fill it with something else, right? So I'm just going to take these layer cakes or 10-inch blocks here and put a line down the center, and then sew a 1/4 inch seam on each side and make my half square triangles. And I'm just using a friction pen here so that when I iron it, it'll come off. It doesn't always come off of every fabric, I'm just going to say that. Or it may come off, but it sometimes leaves a bleach line. So you want to be careful about using friction pens. I tend to only use them on the back or on an area of the front that I know is not going to show. Otherwise, I like to use, oh, I can't think of it now, the water soluble end. So just making these half square triangles. And I'm just going to flip it around and sew on the other side of the line. Just continue going through my stacks here and putting together the colors that I kind of like and making half square triangles. So I need one more block. I think I can do that. And I'm thinking maybe try to figure out a strip for each side and the center. And then I think I'll have a pretty scrappy quilt. All right. Okay, so I got a center strip. I honestly think this might be all I'm going to need. I don't think I'll do a border. Let's find out. Ouch, I got the pin stuck in there. I'm trying to get that out. Okay, so I finished my scrappy quilt top. I gotta work on getting my points a little bit better, but for being leftover fabric from a kit for a quilt that I already did, this is kind of fantastic. It was a pretty good sized kit then. It really was not an expensive one either, as I recall. And I actually had 2 big pieces left that I've been able to do the backing from. So I think it's going to be big enough anyhow. Yep, it's going to be long enough. So now I just need to get it quilted. Here is the original quilt from this project kit called Little Snippets by Bonnie and Camille. And that quilt was actually from 2019. And the box that I recently unboxed had the scraps left from that quilt. And so that is what the top is here on, pinned up on my board here. And then off to the side there, I actually had enough fabric left from this project box that I also am going to be able to do the backing for this lap quilt. So the original size for the quilt here on the floor was actually 42 by 48. So it's just a really small lap quilt. And the one here pinned to the board is actually going to be more like 44 by 55, I think it was, 56, something like that. So it's going to be a little bit larger size lap quilt, actually. So I actually use the one on the floor more for a wall hanging than anything. But to have had so much scrap left from this Moda project box that I've been able to do a whole other quilt, plus the backing, plus actually the backing, I did the backing for this quilt with fabric from the box as well. So, at least I think I did. Well, you know what? It's so long ago, I can't remember for sure. So I might not have. I might have had a ripped piece of red, and I did the backing for that just with my own fabric. But I'm pretty sure it actually came in the kit. And so I just wanted to point out that, like, this Moda kit was kind of fantastic, because I got not only the quilt that I was supposed to make from the kit, but I get this one too. So that's pretty cool. So I just got to get it finished and, get it quilted and all that. So, but yeah, I'm getting there on it. Hopefully pretty quick here. I usually use fusible batting, but I got a good deal on some Quilter's Best Blend. So this is an 80/20 80 cotton, 20 polyester, quilter's best blend, and it's not fusible. So what I'm doing here is just pinning it down. I could have basted it, but I do sometimes use basting. It's not really my preferred method, mostly because I don't necessarily have good ventilation up where I'm at, and I always find, whenever I've tried it, I almost always get myself sticky. So I guess maybe that's it, that I'm too uncoordinated and I end up getting sticky all over myself, and it kind of ends up a sticky mess. But I have used it. I will use it probably at some point in the future too, just because sometimes it is easier and quicker. But for tonight's purpose, I'm just going to pin this down and get started on quilting it. So, and I'm not putting my pin, well, I might put in some extra pins here, but I'm not doing them real close for this project. It was a very quickly sewn together scrappy project, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. If it was something that I wanted to stay really precise, oh, that's a good, nice bit of bulk there, then I would go ahead and put my pins much closer than what they are right now. But I'm not too worried about it, so I'm just going to go ahead and, oh, that one didn't want to, there you go. I might do like maybe another one in the center of each of these. But yeah, just gonna get each of the corners pinned on these 4 blocks, and then I'll get to quilting it. But yeah, it's just gonna be a nice size little lap quilt, and I don't know exactly how I'm gonna quilt it though. I may do some practice stuff. I may do just a regular old straight stitch, because that's my normal, because I'm not very good at quilting, but I'm not very good at quilting because I don't practice. So I don't know, maybe this being scrap pieces from another project, and the fact that you can kind of see that I didn't take, I just really quickly whipped it together, sewed it together, and you can really tell that in a lot of spots. Because it's so far off. But anyhow, so I don't know how, I mean, it would be a good one to practice my quilting on, but I'd also kind of like to get it done because I got several projects I'm trying to work on at the same time here, especially before Christmas. So we'll see. So one thing I should talk about here with the pin basting, it's not sponsored by anybody or anything like that, but I just wanted to show you these. So I actually had this tool, the quick clip, and how it's used is you just push it underneath your pin here and then use it to help get your pin clasped. I usually don't have that much trouble. But anyhow, you push that under there, and the grooves in it help clasp your pin, and that's the name of it's called a quick clip, and Paula Jean Creations. There might be other brands or whatever, but anyhow, that's what that is. And I actually had this first. If I'd have had this first, which is Alex Anderson's 4-in-1 essential sewing tool, I probably honestly would just do like this. Let me get another pin open here and show you. Actually, on the edge here, I'd probably just use my fingers, but if I were pushing it up like that and I can't get a hold of it, you can easily just use this tool as well. And so I might not have even got this really if I had already had the 4-in-1 essential tool. And you can also use the stiletto, My only concern there is that you puncture it right through the fabric. But the 4-in-1 tool is really neat. Like I said, you can use it just like this. You can use this part to kind of flatten down your seams, and you can use the stiletto when you're doing applique pieces if you need to turn, or maybe you're at the sewing machine and you kind of need to get your fabric laying just right at the foot at the needle. You can use that for that, and then of course you have your seam ripper. So, and I like that because I mean this is just an extreme. I have seam rippers all over the place, but this is an extremely useful tool, and I just keep mine in my little I keep mine in my stash and store by Fat Quarter Shop. So, along with some scissors, sewing machine tools, an adapter for my phone, and actually, if I had this before, I had the 4-in-1 tool as well, and it's kind of the same thing where you can turn under applique, or when you're going to sew something and you need to push it under the foot, you use this instead of your fingers. I've learned that one the hard way. So you were off camera when I was showing you the 4-in-1 tool for pinning. So let me just show you here. I just pop my pin up there and just use the point. So there's no groove in this one, which makes it a little bit not as easy, but that worked just fine, didn't it? Okay, so I'm just getting ready to start putting my binding on here. So just did a very basic, quick, straight quilting on this. I just wanted to get it done fairly quickly, and I the diamond angles on the fabric, I thought it would be kind of cool to just do a quick straight line, not very densely quilted. So, and I just used an aqua thread. Actually, you can still see my friction mark just a little bit on some of this. So, and it's funny, even my straight lines sometimes, I had my quilting foot on and I still went just a little weebly wobbly. Oh well. I've used long arms a couple times when I've gone to quilt shows, and I've thought, I wonder if I wouldn't be one of those people that's just better at moving the machine than I am at moving the quilt under a domestic. I get flustered and get caught up and all that sort of stuff, but I do fairly okay, just not really good with really pretty designs, but practice. So hopefully I'll be doing more practice here this winter. All right, let's get this. And sometimes I try to pin my binding before I sew them, but I'm not going to worry about it in this case. I think we might get closer than I thought we would. But my luck, we're going to come 2 inches short. I should measure. I gotta come in just a little bit there too. I didn't cut close enough to trim off and square it up perfect. Perfect. I was wrong. I'm not 2 inches short. I'm about 1 inch short. I should not laugh at that, but like I said, I didn't measure. I just kind of eyeballed and thought, oh, this will be good. This will work. We all know what happens when you do that. You get this. Alright, so I have a couple pieces over here. I'm just going to see what I got that can go 2.5. We'll use this one right here. And how did I sew them? Like so. Okay. I'm just going to quickly get this sewn on here. Cut that. And you know what? I might as well go ahead and make myself a tiny little half square triangle. By no means is that square, but I'll square it up when I go to do a project with them. And cut my little dog ears off. Slide that right over there. Just press this way. I don't like that I had to do a seam right here so close to the end, but extra there at the end. Cut it, and we'll cut off our extra strip here. Okay, so one binding done. Okay, so binding is sewn on. Now I just got to turn it under and get it clipped down, and I will finish hand binding it. So I am definitely not the person to go to for expert videos on quilting, but I am pretty good at showing you what I do and how I fudge it and make mistakes and fix the mistake and maybe leave the mistake, because it's just gonna be a basic little quilt for me. This one will probably be thrown on the couch, and you know, the dogs will be on it and all that. I have done other quilts where, you know, I take my time. I actually hand quilt. I hand quilt much better than I machine quilt, but they do take a very long time to do, and so I can only do so many. I enjoy the piecing not always expert. I decide sometimes that, oh, I don't really care, if the binding on that is a little bit rounded instead of perfect square, it's whatever. I like to try to get them perfectly square, but again, this is going to be a quilt for my couch with dogs on it, not necessarily a quilt for a show. So I don't really enter shows, but if I ever do, then I will definitely take my time much more to get my corner exactly precise and all that. I just didn't want you to think like that I constantly am, oh well, whatever, make it work. I am most of the time when it's like, this is literally what was left from another project. But I wasn't that way with the project that I had done from the original box. I wanted that one to look really nice, and so I worked really hard on it. But this was the leftover scraps, and I just came up with something real quick to put it together, and yeah, it's just going to go on the couch with the dogs on it, so I don't necessarily have to be spending a lot of time making sure that that's perfect. I just need to get it, get it on there. So, and it's not perfect. It's, yeah. All right. Well, now I'm going to fold it under and get it clipped down and get it finished. Hi! What you guys doing? You like that new quilt? You like that new quilt? Yeah. Joey. No. Ah. You too. It's about all the good behavior lasts. Huh? That's about all it lasts. You two are silly. Everybody's gonna know you're a snorter, Chloe. Are you giving that to me? Are you giving it to me? Giving it to me to play with? Say, not really. Your hair's all messy, Chloe. Your hair's all messy. Yeah. You're getting your ear all messed up again. I'm not playing right, am I? Oh, don't scratch. See? That's all I wanted. That's not so hard. Now you gotta tell Joey to come over. See, Joey, I found a nice soft blankie. And a toy. You ran yourself out of energy, didn't you? Finally. Took a little bit.